Oh, g'day New Zealand and welcome back to the Mad Monday podcast, brought to you as always by the 4 and 20 pie, the perfect at-home snack for watching rugby league, or the perfect snack at the ground to have whipped off the back of your head by a half-assed sporting commentator. My name is Tino Fasua Manaia. I'm joined by Tohu Hurley this afternoon. G'day Ben, how you getting on, mate?
Can it be over yet? Is it over? I just want it to end. We just need to take this season out the back and put a bullet in its head.
Chuck it in a sack with a couple of bricks and toss it off the nearest bridge, you reckon?
No, I'm going to distance myself from that one. I think it needs to be humanely dealt with, but definitely it's a long and slow death is the 2024 NRL season for the Mighty Warriors.
And I just feel like that game, Shaun Johnson's last at home, it sort of went about, it was like almost a beautiful summary of the season. It was a lot of emotion. There was a lot of build up to that game. All the vision of Shaun Johnson before the game, he had tears in his eyes when he was running out onto the field, as he should. And the emotion was just a little bit too hot. And I think that, like, you saw that clearly when he knocked the ball on with his first touch. It was like, okay, now you've dispelled the jitters, but the game just went exactly how every Warriors game has so far this season. There's like 20, 30 minutes of us being like, shit, we're on here. Then all of a sudden it just gets taken away from us, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, then there's always generally one moment in the game, one key moment, and I think that was probably the high shot on Roger Tuivasa-Sheck that Stephen Crichton just, for some reason, did not go to the bin for. It was 18-16 at that point. A 10-minute power play, 13 on 12 would have been fantastic at that point.
There needs to be some sort of, there needs to be an investigation, obviously, first off, but also there's got to be, like, if a player, I know you can't judge on the outcome of a tackle, but if a player has to go for an HIA, there's no way that another player doesn't go to the bin. You don't get HIA'd unless someone's hit you in the head. And then we saw later on in the game, Mitch Barnett got hit in the head so hard, I think it was Preston, that it split his eyebrow. And he just stood there, looked at the ref, and he's just like blood pissing out over his eye. And he's like, are you serious? How could that be nothing?
Not only was it high, but it was a shoulder charge as well.
Yeah, it was like point of the shoulder to the cheek / eye socket. Andrew Jennings is in the Mad Monday Munters group on Facebook. He reckons he's got a solution to the inconsistencies coming from the bunker. He said, why can't the same person do all the games in a round? If I can manage to watch them all and I'm not even getting paid to do it, why wouldn't this work?
You're potentially paying for it with your marriage. But, absolutely. I'm also a massive fan, and this goes for the other rugby code as well, of there should be a 5-minute send-off. There should be a 5-minute bin for what is deemed accidental contact with the head. If we're going to be serious about head contact, then that's fine. That's 5 minutes. If it looks like there's intent, that's 10, or carelessness, that's 10. And if it looks like it's just out-and-out dangerous play, then obviously you're off. I think there should be 3 levels.
Yeah, that's a good point, because we've changed how we're officiating it, but we haven't changed the punishments that are available to the referee. I've always said, in rugby union at least, I've been a big proponent of what I call the Donald Duck card, which is for incidental contact with the head. So, you didn't mean to do it. You should be allowed to play on, but you have to remove your pants. So it's like, there's, the fans don't get punished. The game plays on. You still have the same guy, but he's going to be a bit apprehensive hitting a ruck and that kind of stuff because he's got his tackle out. But, there has to be some sort of other thing at the ref's discretion, doesn't it? You can't just be 10 or...
Yeah. I guess what I would say, just to play devil's advocate, at least in rugby league, it isn't a hard and fast rule. Contact with the head just being sent off like it is in rugby union. And the ref did say in that circumstance, he said there are mitigating circumstances, which there wasn't, I don't think.
No.
But still, at least he's trying to judge it tackle by tackle. Whereas in rugby union, there were Pumas players that were just leading with their head into tackles just like a rhino, and then the All Blacks get penalised for contact with the head. I mean, so at least there is still some judgment in rugby league.
Yeah.
But yeah, would love to see some consistency.
Oh no, you're right. Like a couple of weeks ago, when Ethan Blackadder got bumped off and got binned for his efforts as well because they led with their heads. So it's like, what are you supposed to do about that? And I feel like poor Webby was so pissed off in the post-match press conference talking about the inconsistencies and that. Despite all of that, we were lucky enough to commentate from the ground, and being there for that game was fucking awesome. Like, they've all been sellouts this year, but a lot of them are like, they've sold out all the tickets. Some people on the night decide not to turn up, or people show up late. This was packed out basically from the second half of the New South Wales Cup game. The people were filing in, and it was, the environment there was, the atmosphere was wild. The South Stand was fucking heaving. They were packed in like sardines there. And then on the 7th minute, they tried a little bit of forced fun with like a standing ovation for Shaun Johnson, because he wears the number 7, but yeah, I don't know.
I see. Yeah.
It didn't really work because a lot of they put it up on the screen and everyone's like, oh, wait, what? What are we doing? Standing ovation, okay, but for how long? And then it's in the middle of the game, they're still playing. Then I think we knocked it on during that period as well, which deflated us a little bit. The only other thing I note from the game for me was that was the first time I'd been to Lily World after the game. And it was loose. Like, it was going off. There was a DJ going. Everyone was maggot that was in there responsibly. And they got the big screen playing the games. It's the best ticket in town still. People were asking me, like, do you reckon everyone's going to stop going to the games next year? And I don't think they will, because it's still the best sporting event you can go to in New Zealand, because you go there, you go to the game, you have yourself a 4 and 20 pie, have a couple of export ultras, and then watch the game. Afterwards, go to Lily World, wait for the traffic to die down. It's just a good time,
Is there still going to be that Warriors bar in Kingsland? Is that still happening?
Yeah, it is. Which I was talking to a couple of people about at the game, and they were like, do you know how hard it is to get from Kingsland to Mount Smart? Like, there's no direct train. You have to go to Newmarket. So you catch change. Two different trains, which for an out-of-towner, I mean, fuck, I live in Auckland. I don't think I could do that. And I don't think I could pull that off. And then, but I guess, is it for people who aren't going to the game? Is that what it is?
Oh, I think it's probably both, right?
Yeah.
I think they do need a place for the team to, descend on the adoring crowd at about 11 p.m.
Yeah.
After a win. And that's probably going to be it.
Yeah, I suppose. Take a couple of trains while you're half cut. You're right, though. I think that there's been since we were mathematically eliminated, then, we had a bit of artificial inflation because we were so hyped up for Shaun Johnson's last game. But now, honestly, are we playing the Sharks this week?
Yeah, we started with the Sharks. We're ending with the Sharks.
I wasn't entirely certain that that's who we were playing this weekend, because I think, like a lot of people, we're all just sort of focused on next year now. Yeah,
so let's talk a little bit about next year. We haven't made a lot of signings, I would say. Obviously, we're losing SJ, but I feel like we have quite a lot of backup in that role, in the halves role. We do get Jet Cleary as well next year, who I don't know. I don't think he'll roll straight into the first grade side because he is, 14 years old or whatever. But we definitely have cover there. Arguably Tamati Martin was better in that jersey than SJ was this year. Certainly had more success just out of pure numbers. Where do you think we need to make some signings in the off season?
I don't know who kicks goals for us next year is my biggest problem. So Shaun will be gone. I don't think CHT will be. He certainly won't be starting. So I actually think that Adam Pompey, it's a big tick in his favour. But then you're paying Roger Tuivasa-Sheck however much you're paying him. Rocco Berry will be back next year. I don't think we're losing AFB, but we gain James Fisher-Harris. We lose Jazz Tavanga, but they've just announced Aaron Clark, who's, I don't know, much for muchness. And if anything, Kieran Foran's 300th game was on the weekend, and guess who was leading the haka for that? It was Aaron Clark. So I feel like we've got a bit of an influx of mana coming our way next year. I really don't think we're losing that much. You know what I mean? If Shaun Johnson left at the end of last year, I'd have been like, fuck, that's huge. We've just lost the Dally M Player of the Year by rights. But this time around, I'm like, I don't know. I think health is going to be the biggest issue. We've got enough players. I mean, fuck, Jackson Ford hasn't even been playing for the last month, you know?
Well, that was actually going to be the position I thought we could do with another really solid back rower.
Yeah, Well, it kind of feels like as we got Ford.
We're good up front, right? We're good up front.
Yeah.
Which with Mitch Barnett and James Fisher-Harris, that's a pretty good front row.
That's sick.
Each forwards, I mean, if Tohu is fit, like actually fit, because I don't think he's been fit all year, really, even though he's been on the park, then that's fine. But Jackson Ford is hot and cold.
Yeah.
I just think, and we lose Dylan Walker and Jazz, who cover in those positions as well. So, yeah, I think another ball playing back rower, a big MFer would be great.
I don't know who that is when I look around the league. I'm just trying to rack my brain for who would fill that for us. I also think just like one massive game breaker, which could be Luke Metcalf. I'm banking on that next year because it's, your game breakers are either your halves or your fullback, really. And Chance, as solid as he is and as great as he is, isn't that kind of fullback. So we need Metcalf to be the game breaker for us next year, I reckon.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was actually watching the Titans game yesterday, and it was a Khan Pereira who basically scored a 90-metre try, and I thought watching that, I thought there's no one in the Warriors that can do that at the moment.
Yeah, and conversely, those are the guys that carve us to bits as well, those whip-it-quick outside backs. We could be one short of those.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm a fan of Adam Pompey, and I think Warriors centres have been not great in the past on defence, but with him and Rocco Berry in there, I have a reasonable amount of faith in those two. But yeah, even Dallin. I don't know that Dallin could run 90 metres. Like, he's a great finisher, great winger, but he's not that kind of winger.
No, he does. He's made a couple of intercept tries more last year than he did this year, but even then you're like, I don't know if he's going to get there. I don't know if he's away. Like, it's not shut the gate when DWZ gets an intercept.
Nah, and on that wing, we've had the Cossie Club in there. I'm not sure he's quite the star that he promised to be a couple of years ago. So, yeah, there you go. Someone who could cover, wing/centre, who's a speedster, would be fantastic. Unfortunately, Val Holmes went to the Dragons, but I think if he could join the Warriors, we'd have some salary cap issues.
Yeah, you're right. I don't really know. I still think I reckon the RTS thing would have taken a toll on the team this year, and I don't think we've solved it. I think it's still a problem going into next year. And you hear all these interviews with him talking about the difference when he plays fullback to when he plays centre or wing. And he says when he's playing fullback, all he's thinking about is being the best player in the world. And when he's playing centre or wing, he's thinking about, defensive coverages. Is he in the right place? Does his winger like this? Does his, second rower like that? And he's sort of got all these things in his head. Whereas when he's at fullback, it's like, how do I be the greatest player of all time?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, yeah, do we let one of them go? One of our fullbacks.
I don't know. I don't know how to solve it. I don't know
how to solve it either. I don't want to let either of them go.
No, I know.
They're both amazing. And I think that's the biggest issue. We have two fantastic players who really only play one position.
Yeah. And then, I don't know. I've been saying for a while, I really want them to swap. I wouldn't mind. I reckon Chan's would be great in the centres.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we all agree Roger, I don't know. Does that Roger still exist? I don't know. The Dalium Player of the Year, is he still that guy? Should he be on the
tell you what, who comes back from Union and is better? Almost no one.
No.
It's weird, like Benji was pretty good towards the end of his career still, but he was he was quarter or Benji by that point.
Yeah. What way around did Lottie Takiri go? Did he go back to league? Don't think so.
I don't know.
Matt Rogers.
But was he Joey Manu? Will he ever go back and be the great Joey Manu rugby league player ever again?
Yeah, I don't know. Adam's just raised a good point. Brad Thorne. But Brad Thorne was going to be Brad Thorne wherever he went and whatever he did.
He didn't go back to league, though.
I feel like he did.
No, he played for the All Blacks until he was like 50.
He during the All Blacks, by the way, he used to make Stephen Donald and Conrad Smith have bench pressing competitions to decide who was the weakest All Black in the squad. Beaver reckoned he got him.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, look, I don't know. I don't think we've solved a lot of the problems that have plagued us this year going into next year, but also I don't think we're losing too much in the squad. And like, you don't just pluck a competition winning fullback or half out of thin air anyway. So
No.
But again, I just think we were a few sort of health issues this year away from the form of last year. I saw a stat that absolutely broke my heart about goal kicking and that we'd be almost in the top 4 if we'd kicked 100%. You could probably say that about most teams, but I don't think we're that far off, I don't think it's doom and gloom. But anyway, what's your excitement level for the Sharks game this week?
As I say, put a bullet in the back of this season's head. No, look, it'll be nice. It'll be nice to record a win. I would like it not to be like the season 2 years ago where we lost by 40 points to the Titans and had Matt Lodge walking off, giving the fingers to the crowd. So, yeah, just if we could just improve on that, that'd be great.
That's the baseline. All right, so we'll take a quick break. We'll come back and we're going to discuss the stonker of the round. If you're keen to join the Alternative Commentary Collective team for a massive rugby league weekend in March of 2025, you can text Vegas to 3236 to book your spot. Now, I'm not sure that there are still spots in there. I've heard that it may be sold out, but anyway, text Vegas to 3236 to have a look, see if you can book your spot to Vegas. Now, it is time for the Stonka of the round. And you put it into the group chat this morning, Ben. It had to be the Panty Raiders against the Panthers, 22 points to 18. But it wasn't just the tight scoreline. It was the way that it was won, wasn't it? Intercept try, length of the field stuff.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I love an afternoon game anyway. And when the afternoon game is arguably the best of the week end, then, that's just great watching. That's just great rugby league. And you got to say, of all the fans in the NRL, could you say that the Raiders fans are the most passionate? There is a lot of green sparkle paint in that crowd, and I love to see it.
Yeah, they do go hard, eh? I would obviously put them second to the Warriors fan base, but there is
true.
There is something about the dress-up thing, that fake horn they blow. They were Viking clapping at the end as well. There's a little bit of a rivalry there with the Panthers, who I seem to remember that their home crowd was doing a Viking clap last year or the year before, and they were spanking the Raiders, and their whole fans were like, hey.
I think that probably stems from the early 90s. That's when I first started watching league, actually, early 90s, and that was the grand final, I think, 3 years in a row was Panthers Raiders.
Right. Was that the Ricky Stewart era?
Yeah. And Panthers, I think 2 out of 3 went to the Panthers of those grand finals. So that's where it comes from. But Canberra's a weird place. If you've ever been there, it's not a tourist destination. You certainly don't need to go through it. Like, you have to go out of your way to go through it. So obviously the capital, it's kind of a boring place. So I think they're very, very passionate about their league team, and it gives them some respite from their boring, humdrum public servant lives.
Yeah, government jobs. The stadium's quite cool as well there that they play at. There's a long history with that club. Quite a lot of Kiwi fans, the Raiders. They had a lot of great Kiwi players throughout the years. I love watching the games at that stadium, but like I said before, the only thing that really does my head in is that fake horn. Like, either blow a real horn or don't bother, Yeah,
I'm not into it. They haven't always done that, the Viking clap thing. I think it came from when Iceland made the European Cup final
Yeah.
or semi-final, or had an amazing run through the Euros one year. And they, they're actual Vikings, not fake South Pacific Vikings, but they actually did this Viking clap behind the goal, and it looked incredible. It was organic, whereas, as you say, but said before about organised fun, it does smack of organised fun, which is my least kind of favourite kind of fun.
I know, and they've got so many unique Australian animals that haven't been picked for any of the teams. There's no Crocodiles team. North Queensland should be leaning into that wholeheartedly. There are the Sharks, but I don't really know what the link between Vikings and Canberra is.
No, sorry. Canberra, I mean, I think they're a lot of people's second favourite team, as you say, in New Zealand. They're quite lovable, and they are just outside the 8. Now, I know we say this almost every year, but I've never seen a log jam around the 8 spot as log jammed as this year. It is unbelievable.
So at the moment, the Dragons are 8th. Unbelievably, the Broncos are now 9th. They're on 26 points, as are the Dolphins, Knights, and Raiders. So, yeah, you're right. There is heaps to play for them. For us, we're just down there 1 point ahead of the Rabbitohs, and thankfully 5 points ahead of the Eels and Tigers, so we are not in spoon contention.
Yes, I believe it's basically the Broncos play the Dolphins this weekend, and it's basically for the top 8 spot, I think. Assuming the Dragons lose. Does that sound right?
The Dragons, they play the Eels, so they're probably not going to lose.
Okay, true.
Dolphins, Broncos. Then the Broncos play the Storm, and then it's Spoon Bowl, West Tigers versus the Eels.
Oh, is it Broncos Storm?
No, and that's in the last week.
Oh, right.
Remember that there's actually 2 more games left to go, but the Warriors have the bye, and actually, mercifully, they have the bye at the end of the round now. We were thinking, start of the season, we're like, this is perfect. We're going to come into the 8 roaring, ready to go. And now we're just like, oh, thank God it's over. Do you think that the Panthers should be worried by this result?
Yes. I mean, Nathan Cleary didn't play. Are they that reliant on him?
Well, I mean, he's been out for most of the season, but when he came back, it was just like, oh, that's right. He is immortal quality rugby league player. And I believe that it was Luai who threw that intercept pass as well. So you could arguably say he lost them the game if you didn't like Luai for whatever reason. But I
wonder who you're talking about. I think we're in agreement on that one.
I do think that they're quite reliant on him, but I also don't think they without him are still an excellent, excellent team. It is going to depend on when he can come back from his injury. And I know that Cleary was getting stuck into them about, we're just not playing good enough football. But, I don't know.
So this is the question that we unfortunately have to ask some seasons, Manaia, and that is, what team are you following through the finals?
Yeah, I've picked these guys from a while ago, and I'm actually quite glad that we've passed the torch to them, but it is the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. I was gutted that it was them that we had to play in Shaun Johnson's last game because, I was saying last week they allow, their defense has been stingy all season. They allow the fewest amount of tries per game. And in the last sort of 6 weeks, they've also started piling tries on from everywhere. They've been having a crack from all areas of the field. They're the most fun team to watch, and it's good because I can't get behind the Storm or the Roosters or any of those massive clubs. So, for me, it's the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Also, they seem to be having a moment. Have you seen, the carnage that's going on outside their home games? Vans are getting flipped and shit's getting lit on fire and... It's like full scale riots every game now, so this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, well, it's been a tough few years for the Bulldogs, and obviously they had basically they basically gutted the entire organisation from the bottom up, and the fact that it's paying dividends now is nice to see. Although, as you say, it sounds like Bulldogs fans will always be Bulldogs fans, and they will always be the most feral. I mean, arguably, rivaled by Parramatta fans, but those two ball clubs definitely have the most rabid fans.
Yeah.
I will be following. I don't think they're going to win, but I'd love to see them do well. I'll be following my Cowboys through the finals. I think they're star-studded across the park. Everyone kind of loves the Cowboys a little bit. And I think Tom Dearden's the best number 6 in the competition. There, I said it.
I am not far off agreeing with you there. I think he has been absolutely outstanding. I've been flirting with getting him in my Supercoach team this entire season. He was great in Origin. You're right. I think what he suffers from is a nothing haircut. If he had some sort of, slick mullet even, or some sort of fade or something like that, but he's just got that real middle-of-the-road white guy haircut that's doing him no favours. He's no one's favourite player, aside from yours, perhaps, but... And I think that's what he's suffering from. Is like no distinguishing physical features. He's not big. He's quick enough, but that's not the hallmark of his game.
No, look, the mums love him, and I don't mean that in a sexual way, like something for the mums. They love him because they remind every mum of their son.
Yeah, 100%.
And he's got a haircut that looks like it was done by his mum.
He does too. So, yeah, that's the Raiders 22-18 against the Panthers. I'm not going to read too far into that. I think the Panthers come finals time. They're too experienced. They'll be in that final, but it may show just a little bit of weakness. If you're one of those other teams at the top, you're licking your lips, aren't you?
Yeah, so, look, just to go back to this weekend's game against the Cronulla Sharks, what I would say is all the bottom teams have had some upsets in the last few weeks. So the Tigers... Two games in a row.
Yeah.
Any win for them is an upset, let's be honest.
Yes. And upsetting.
What's that?
And upsetting.
Yeah, of course. I think the Eels turned over someone recently.
Yeah, us.
Yeah, that's right, it was us. The Rabbitohs had a little run there a few weeks back. It would be great just to be one of those teams that upset one of the favourites for the competition. I don't see it necessarily happening, but yeah, I mean, how many have we lost on the trot now? Is it 4?
Yep. I'm just scrolling back through them. Doggies got us. Then the Eagles absolutely hammered us. The Dolphins beat us with that drop goal. And then, the Eels. So, 4. And then we beat the Tigers.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to... Well, look, the Warriors always win games that they shouldn't. So, this one against the Sharks could be a real banana peel for the Sharks. Anyway, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to go reverse Hurley here. I've got a reverse Hurley's Heroes. We're going to go a little bit different this week, Hurley. We're going to go reverse. Okay. We're going to go reverse Hurley, which I understand is something you haven't done since your uni days. We are going to go a top 10. How many of the top 10 most games for the Warriors can you name? So out of the top 10 games played for the Warriors, how many can you name?
Well, I imagine this is in tribute to Shaun Johnson.
That's right.
So he's one.
Yes, he is one.
He's one. Now, last time I did Hurley's Heroes, the most capped Warrior, Simon Mannering.
That's 2. 301 games for Simon Mannering. 220 for Shaun Johnson, by the way.
I'm going to say Manu Vatuvei.
Manu Vatuvei is 3rd with 226.
Okay, that's good. I didn't realise I was doing them in order. Now they won't be in order, probably. Stacey Jones.
Yes, Stacey Jones.
Stacey Jones, that's 4.
That is the top 4.
That is the top 4 even.
Yeah, congratulations.
Now I'm starting to... Owen Gutenberg, I think, he's a one-club player, so
yes.
I imagine he's probably in there.
He's 9th.
He's 9th, okay. That's 5 of them, though. Michael Luck?
Michael Luck is not in there.
No. Oh, that's a good run. Okay. What else have I got? Lance Hohire, probably?
Lance Hohire is 8th.
Okay, good. Who else are we? Steve Price.
Steve Price is not in the top 10 most games played for the Warriors, unfortunately.
Yeah, because he came from the Bulldogs, didn't he?
Came from the Bulldogs.
Okay.
And then went to
guess there. I'm trying to think of one Warrior, one club players. Logan Swan.
Logan Swan is in at number 6.
Oh, okay. So I've missed 2. I think I've got one more guess, have I?
Yeah, one more guess.
One more guess. It's probably... it someone like Ben Matalino?
It's Ben Matalino, yeah, that's right. He's 5th. He played 212 games for the club, and the one that you missed was Sam Rapira, who played 173.
Really?
Yeah. In the changing rooms.
Me.
In the changing rooms for Shaun Johnson's last game as well. So yeah, your top 10: Simon Mannering, Stacey Jones, Manu Butterfly, Shaun Johnson, Ben Matalino, Logan Swan, Jacob Lillyman, Lance Hohaya, Owen Gutenbiel, Sam Rapira. I don't think you got Lillyman, did you?
No, I didn't get Lillyman either. It's a surprise. He's a Queenslander, wasn't he? Played Origin.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, that is your top 10 most played games for the Warriors. You did well in that top 5, and then after that, I think
it fell apart a bit. I'm all right. 7 out of 10 is not bad. I'll take that.
7 out of 10 is tremendous. All right, hopefully you're done screaming at your device after all of the ones that Ben missed, and we'll knock this one on the head for a Monday. We'll be back on Thursday. Thank you very much, Ben. Enjoy your week, mate.
Thank you. Looking forward to the game, even though I said I wasn't.